Hey there YouTube, this is Vargas XX78 with another collection pickup video, comic book edition. These are the comic books that have been waiting for me in the comic book store for the last 5 weeks. So yeah, just wanted to share with you guys the stuff that I've picked up. First off, we have what was supposed to be the last issue of Superior Spider-Man. This is issue 31. And it has Peter Parker in control of his body again, taking the fight to Norman Osborn. It's revealed that Norman Osborn had plastic surgery and that he infiltrated the Alchemax organization to basically try to give a better future to Normie, his grandson. And it appears that Liz Allen also is involved in this whole thing, but thankfully, Spider-Man 2099 is also there to give a hand, and yeah, it has a big fight, and they also cure Norman Osborn of his craziness. Since Carly Cooper was infected by the Goblin serum, the people at Parker Industries figure out a way to cure her. So Spider-Man in turn uses that cure on Norman. So they took away his Goblin healing factor, his Goblin strength. But they also took away his craziness, so now Norman Osborn is not crazy. It's going to be interesting to see how they follow through with that, and also how they do everything with Peter Parker in the time that he was absent. I say that this was going to be their last issue because after going for my comic book run, I read online that Marvel's going to release 2 more issues of the Superior Spider-Man, which is going to supposedly fill in the gap of a time where Dr. Octopus got displaced in time. So, yeah, 2 more issues to go of the Superior Spider-Man, but that ends, and then we start off with the brand new Amazing Spider-Man #1. This is the 3rd time Marvel has released a #1, but this, I'm wondering how long it's going to take Marvel to actually renumber the series again. To the old numbering, but whatever. It's a brand new #1, and it has the ghost of Peter Parker inhabiting his body, still trying to deal with all the craziness that happened during Doc Ock's tenure as the Superior Spider-Man. He has to deal with having his own company. He still has to fix relationships with his friends and family. Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff he has to deal with. On the bonus is that Marvel, along with this issue, put a complete other book in Human #1 just to give people a sampling of the rest of the Marvel books. And that was sort of neat because it created this really thick issue. But yeah, things are back in the bizarre status quo for Peter Parker. I mean, you have Peter Parker back, but now he has to deal with all the crap that happened during Doc Ock's run. So yeah, let's see how that works out for poor Pete. Picked up Avengers issue 28. These last few issues have been really confusing because I don't read New Avengers, so I don't know what's going on with the Illuminati and everything. But this is a Hulk-centered book. Not much to say about that. I do have to say a couple of things about this one. This is Avengers issue 29, the first book that's going to cross over with the original Sin crossover. And here, Marvel ripped off a page from DC in their Identity Crisis, where the Illuminati first want Captain America to be part of that, but Captain America is not happy with what they're doing. So they all take a vote, and they have Doctor Strange erase his memories of the Illuminati and what happened there. Basically, in this issue, Captain America remembers what they did to him, and he's not happy, so he goes after Tony Stark. So that's pretty much what happened with Batman. Batman got his memory erased by a magical person, Satana in that case, and he remembered and, was not happy. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle Captain America in that role, because, he understandably so, he feels violated, and he's not happy with what the Illuminati did, and what the Illuminati apparently are still doing. So, yeah, this, again, ripped off a page from DC, but DC's ripped off a page from Marvel a couple of times, so it's okay. But it is kind of sad to see that there's no real originality in books anymore. Everyone's ripping off everyone else or retreading old storylines. So, but still, this was pretty awesome. The artwork by Lionel Francis Yu is still good. I really am a fan of his artwork, and this it felt like even though it deals with stuff I don't follow, this felt like a more cohesive book than the last issues of Avengers. So I was actually thinking of dropping Avengers, but I'm gonna follow through with the Original Sin because so far it's really good. Which leads to the crossover itself. This is Original Sin issue 0. It has Nova traveling to the moon and discovering the origins of Uatu the Watcher. I know what Original Sin is going to be about, and I'm going to talk about it, but it was still nice for Marvel to take a look back at one of the old, well, at least in my memory, one of the oldest cosmic beings. Because as long as I remember, I've known about the Watcher from, the regular comic books that he's appeared in from What If. So yeah, this was a nice look back at Uatu, which was fitting because in Original Sin they kill Uatu the Watcher. Someone travels to the moon, and they shoot Uatu somehow and steal his eyes because I guess the eyes have all the knowledge that Uatu stored. I guess maybe I don't know how that would work, but yeah, someone kills Uatu the Watcher. So old Nick Fury, original Nick Fury, not his son, puts a team together to try to figure out what's going on, who killed the Watcher. Well, another team goes after, because there's another mystery that happens. The people that were involved in the theft, because they took Uatu's eyes and a bunch of the stuff that he had in the moon, they start going through some changes. There's a mindless one that starts becoming sentient, so another team has to deal with that. But yeah, this is an interesting crossover. It's a murder mystery with a hint of cosmic threat. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Picked up Uncanny Avengers issue 19, which has Kang the Conqueror trying to put a team together to stop the Apocalypse Twins, or what the Apocalypse Twins did. It's ironic because Kang the Conqueror created them, so now he wants to stop them. But you have people like May Parker from Earth X, Doom 2099, Iron Man 20, I think it's 2020, Thor and Strive and some other people. So yeah, I'm really digging Uncanny Avengers. I want to see how that plays out. Also picked up Uncanny Avengers Annual. They introduced a new team of Avengers, which are, I think, the Avengers of the Supernatural, which has Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Man-Thing, Blade, and two other people I don't recognize. But basically the Uncanny Avengers and these Avengers of the Supernatural get abducted by Mojo and sent to Mojo World. So it's a Mojo story. But in the end, they fight off the influence and they beat Mojo. But I guess Marvel wanted another Avengers book in the market, so that's why they did that. Picked up Batman issue 30, which has a Batman coming back. He was lost after the last issue, but he's back, and now he has to deal with all the craziness the Riddler did. So yeah, I've said that Batman is by far my favorite DC book right now, so not much to say about that. Picked up Batman and Wonder Woman. This is issue 30, which has continuing the hunt for Robin. Here, Batman travels to Themyscira to try to ask Wonder Woman for help in stopping Ra's al Ghul from accessing a Lazarus pit there. But it's a different kind of Lazarus pit, because he wants to bring back Damian, and Batman wants the body back. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle this, if they are going to bring back Damian or not. Because I know a lot of people, myself included, hated Damian at first, but he really grew to be a very, very cool character. And seeing his death, the way he died, was kind of surprising. So I do miss Damian, and if they bring him back, I'll be happy with that. Picked up Deadpool vs. Carnage issue 2. This has, like the name says, Deadpool fighting off against Carnage I really like the first issue. Actually, I don't pick up Deadpool as a regular book, and I'm not that big a fan of Deadpool, but these miniseries have been really cool. The Deadpool Kills trilogy and Night of the Living Deadpool. So seeing him go off against Carnage, which to my memory has never happened before, is pretty awesome. But this is issue 2. The cover to issue 3 I'm not a big fan of, but issue 3 has him going in an all-out war. So I'm looking forward to issue 4 and see how this whole thing resolves. Because, yeah, it's a really good read. Picked up Justice League issue 29, which has the Metal Men and Cyborg, a new upgraded Cyborg, taking the fight to Grid. Next week, Forever Evil is going to release, so we'll see how this whole big event finally ends. But I do know that Lex Luthor is going to become a part of the Justice League, so that's going to be interesting to see how Lex Luthor interacts with the rest of the superheroes, and Batman especially. Batman's, I don't think he's going to be very happy with that. Picked up Simpsons Comics issue 211. Really cool looking cover here with all the characters there. I really like that cover. And picked up one of these one-shots that they've been releasing. This one featuring Duffman. Ooh yeah! And in this one, I want to talk about this one because they give a really interesting take on this. Basically, what they do is they rip off from DC the Green Lantern Corps. So there's these Duffman Corps, and they make a nod to that, and they also make Sinestro instead of a party guy, a more serious cocktail kind of guy. Really funny look at the Green Lantern Corps in the Simpsons universe. This was really funny to me. Most of these one-shots have been good. Some of them contain stories that are not that good. Others are, the whole book throughout is funny, but this one was pretty cool. I would recommend you pick it up because I know these Simpsons one-shots have sold out really fast. So picked up Superman issue 30, which is a prelude to the Doomed storyline, which actually happens in Superman Doomed. I've mentioned in some of my videos that Doomsday is my favorite character to come out from the death of Superman. His design is interesting to me. At first I was really mad that an unknown character took out Superman, but as the years have passed, Doomsday is just a beast. He's just insane how freakishly badass he is, because he can never die, and when he does get defeated, he evolves and becomes stronger. Just freaking love Doomsday. And in this one, in the new 52, they kind of hint that Superman has fought Doomsday before, and then sent him to the Phantom Zone, and in the Phantom Zone he kind of evolved. So now every step, he escapes from the Phantom Zone, but now every step he takes literally kills everything around him. He kind of like he's kind of like Omega Red that releases death pheromones. So he basically kills anything that's around him. So Superman, being Kryptonian, is the only one that can really fight him for an extended amount of time. So he takes him to the moon and then to the other planets, but then they crash back on Earth, where Superman literally rips him in half. He rips Doomsday in half, and then he turns all purple and collapses. So that was pretty brutal. That was pretty brutal. But this is like the super evolved form of Doomsday, which leads into a bunch of other books. The first one is Superman Wonder Woman issue 8. What they set up here is that when Superman ripped Doomsday in half, he kind of got infected by a Doomsday virus that crafted to his Kryptonian cells. So now Superman is turning into a Doomsday. His body is changing, and he's turning gray and hulking, and he's starting to have bone things come out of his body. It's really messed up to see Superman like that, and but at the same time, it's kind of interesting to see what they do with that. For someone that's been reading comic books for as much as I have, this is not the first time Superman has mutated into a hulking thing. when his powers got crazy a while back. That also happened, but yeah, now he's basically fused with Doomsday, and he's getting violent and crazy. So that's going to be interesting. At least it's interesting to me how they do and handle that. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Picked up Swamp Thing issue 31, which has him resolve the whole thing of being his consciousness being transferred to a human body that's dying, while some people are experimenting with the Swamp Thing body and the green. I really like Swamp Thing. It's my second favorite DC book, right after Batman. But it does seem like it's turning a little bit formulaic, in the sense that Swamp Thing or Alec Holland does something thinking it's for the best, then he gets screwed over, and then he has to go on this quest to fix it. And yeah, I like that they're changing up the Swamp Thing and his mythos, because in this one they introduce a new avatar, the avatar of the Gray, which they already did in Earth 2, but in this one it's fungus. Swamp Thing is the avatar of the green, which is plants. Animal Man is the avatar of the red, which is animals. Then they had the avatar of the rot, and so now they have the avatar of the gray, and he gets in a fight with Swamp Thing. So now he's made another enemy. So that came back to bite him in the butt, and it seems like the people that he rescued from the green and brought back in human form, one of them is gonna screw him over. So it does. Again, I'm really liking it, but it does seem like they're falling into a set formula, and I don't want it to get repetitive. Picked up Uncanny X-Men issue 20, which has Cyclops and his team taking the fight to S.H.I.E.L.D. because they're creating Sentinels to fight mutants. I still have issues with Uncanny X-Men. Brian Michael Bendis sometimes writes really amazing stuff, sometimes not so much. But it's Uncanny X-Men. I've been collecting Uncanny X-Men for a while, through reboots and relaunches and whatever. So, also hang on to that. Picked up Age of Ultron issue 3, and in this one the character that gets taken out is Thor, so you have this reality where Thor is not part of the team. Then you have Age of Ultron issue 4, which has the Punisher. Captain America is the one that's taken out here, and Nick Fury goes to the Punisher, and basically he's like, well, I want you to be the new Captain America, and he does it, but he's conflicted and everything. And this is not, again, the first time they've done that. In the second volume of What If, they already did that. What if the Punisher became Captain America? Then the last issue, What If issue 5, has a reality where Ultron was never created. But what they did here, and what I liked, is that in the first issue of this What If series, there's a reality where Ultron takes over, completely takes over. So he's able to peer into this dimension where there's no Ultron. He's like, there can never not be an Ultron. So he invades all the realities set up in this miniseries, so that at the end issue you have all these realities coming together, trying to stop a way superior Ultron. So I really like the way that they integrated everything that happened in the previous issues to this. I thought that was really cool. So just for that, it was surprising, and I really liked this issue because of it. Picked up Witchblade 174, which has a battle between the Angelus and Sarah Pacini. The Angelus gets a hold of a piece of the Witchblade, so she wants Sarah's piece as well. This book jumped, I think, if I remember right, it's a year in the future. So a lot of things changed. They went from one issue then to a year in the future, so a lot of things is different. I guess you have to read Artifacts to get the complete story. But, yeah, I dropped Artifacts, so I'm lost in a whole bunch of stuff. Case in point, the Angelus, the new Angelus, is Jenny Estacado, which was the Darkness's girlfriend. How did that happen, and what happened to the Angelus bearer that was set up in Artifacts? I don't know. So I'm kind of lost in the whole thing. I still like the fact that Ron Mars is back in the book, and the artwork by Laura Braga is good. It's not the best artwork I've seen, but it's good enough for Witchblade. That sounded kind of wrong, but I'm still digging Witchblade. Again, I just feel really, really lost with what's going on. Picked up Wolverine issue 4. Wolverine issue 5. And Wolverine issue 7. I'm sorry, 6. And yeah, I read that Marvel is going to cancel the Wolverine series, and then they're going to release a 4-issue miniseries called The Death of Wolverine. Honestly, I'm not a fan of this series. I'm not liking what they were doing with Wolverine, how they're handling him, not having a healing factor. I really, really don't like this at all. And if you know, for someone that's read comic books for a while, death really doesn't mean jack crap in comic books. They might kill off a character or seem that they kill off a character, and then they'll bring him back by magic, or it'll turn out that he's not really dead. And it's not the first time Wolverine's died. I mean, I remember an issue in Volume 2 where he lost his healing factor because he had like a dampening collar because he was sent to a prison. His body got really beat up, and he died. He did die, and he had his whole life flash before his eyes. And then his healing factor kicked in. Wolverine's alive again. And I know there's another issue I'm forgetting where that thing also happened, where Wolverine almost died, and then his healing factor kicked in and saved him. So this whole Death of Wolverine thing that they announced, I'll pick it up because it might be a good story. Even though, honestly, Wolverine is by far their more popular mutant. So I don't think it's going to stick. I don't think Wolverine's really, really going to die. If, however, they kill off Logan and he stays dead, and they don't bring him back for like a year or a year and a half, my hat will go off to Marvel, because that's a big risk. I mean, they did it with Spider-Man, but now he's back. They did it to Kurt, Nightcrawler, but he's back. Jean Grey is the only one that's still dead. I mean, they brought back a younger version of Jean Grey, but she's back in a sense. So honestly, you know, death in comic books doesn't really mean anything. But I'll still pick it up just to see if it's a good story. Because honestly, this whole thing that they're doing with Wolverine, I'm not really liking it at all. I'm really, really hating what they're doing with Wolverine here. So, hey, if it means that Wolverine will come back in a clean slate, I'm up for it. Picked up Savage Wolverine issue 17, which concludes the story arc that they were doing. But this will also, unfortunately, be the last issue of Savage Wolverine I pick up. This story arc was really cool, and other story arcs in the book have been really, really, really a good read. But I need to cut down on comic books. I'm getting married to my fiance, so I desperately need to cut down on comic books. And yeah, Savage Wolverine, it's an anthology series, so it kind of looks back at certain parts of Wolverine's life. But yeah, it really doesn't factor in that much in the comic book series. This is still by far way better than Wolverine, because at least it still has Wolverine acting like Logan, and he has his healing factor and stuff. But I have to drop down a couple of series, and Savage Wolverine is one that's gonna go. Picked up the last issue of Origin 2, which was kind of disappointing. I mean, the series itself, the writing by Kieran Gillen was good. The artwork by Adam Kubert is good. I like Andy Kubert's artwork a lot better, but Adam Kubert still did a good job here. The only thing I found disappointing is that they introduced a Creed here. So I thought that they were, going to explain how the Creed Logan rivalry started. But the Creed here gets killed, and it turns out that he's not Victor Creed. Victor Creed is actually way worse of a character, but again they don't showcase what led to that amazing rivalry. So I guess that was disappointing in that sense. I guess it's a setup for Origin 3, but it wasn't. It started off really cool, but then it didn't. The payoff didn't compare to the first Origin. I don't know. I picked up Wonder Woman issue 30, which is my third favorite DC book released right now. Wonder Woman tries to rally the Amazons to her to take the fight to the Firstborn, who has ascended to Olympus, and he's causing chaos for everyone. But yeah, this is my third favorite DC book right now. I've mentioned before that the creative team has mentioned that they're going to leave the book as soon as they wrap up their storyline, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a freaking amazing storyline, and I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, great reading there. And the last book I picked up is Amazing X-Men issue 6. The X-Men, all of the X-Men, even the Uncanny X-Men team goes to see Nightcrawler. They celebrate that Nightcrawler is back, that he's alive and he's back on the team. There he meets up with Mystique, who also, in her own way, is happy that Nightcrawler's back, but they kind of end up fighting. And also, they have a family moment with Asaciel, Nightcrawler's dad. Mystique breaks him out and offers him a place in her brotherhood, and he takes it. So now you got Nightcrawler's parents running around. I was actually thinking of dropping Amazing X-Men after this, because Jason Aaron is going to leave the book. This is his last issue. But the creative team that's going to pop up, I've read in their interview, are going to do a lot of stuff. They're going to bring back Colossus. They're going to do this thing called World War Wendigo, where in Canada this whole massive Wendigo tribe popped up. So the X-Men, the Amazing X-Men, have to deal with that. So I think I'm going to keep Amazing X-Men for a couple of more issues. 2 more issues into the new creative team's run before I decide. Mind you, 6 issues in, I like this book a lot more than the 20 issues of Bendis Uncanny X-Men. So yeah, I'll keep this one, and I'll decide which one of those 2 I drop. Because again, I need to cut down, so I'll drop one of the 2 X-Men books I'm getting. But like always, before I finish off, I like to make the recommendation of the standout books, and there are a lot of books there. There are a lot of books that I really enjoyed reading, but I'm gonna go with Superman Doom for my personal like. Again, I really like the character, and I really like it's interesting what they're going to do with Superman and Doomsday here. That they're going to turn Superman into Doomsday, so now he's got to somehow control his psychotic urges that are emerging. So that's interesting to me. Also, I'm going to recommend Deadpool vs. Carnage. Again, 2 issues, and I'm pretty sure they're going to reprint these. Because I know they sold out pretty fast, so I know they're going to reprint these, or they might release a trade with it. I don't know, but if you can get your hands on this, it's got 1 more issue to go. But again, I'm pretty sure they'll either reprint it or release everything on a trade. But if you can read this, I definitely recommend it. If you're a Deadpool fan, 100% recommend it. If you're a Carnage fan, 100% recommend it. If you're not a fan of any character, still pick it up because it's a good read, and it's freaking violent as crazy. So yeah, those 2 are my recommendations. But like always, thanks so much to anyone that watches this video. Thank you for hearing me talk about comic books for half an hour. So like always, thank you for that. And until I see you all again, this is Vargas XX78 signing out.